Good day everyone, I am Cherry Lumangera. For today, I will explain the part 1 of our project. For our HTML first in the head tag, we use the title that Continental Hotel Management. Then after that, we link the CSS file of our program. In the body, where all of the contents are displayed, here we use the login form with text box input for username and password. Same goes with registration form for registration. Also, they comes with a paragraph tags and links. Next is the homepage. First as the header, we give the name of the Continental Hotel Management for and also we use the login button as well as for logging out the homepage then book now button for booking hotel and booking button which is button for list of the bookings made by the user. The next HTML will be explained by Justin Lawrence.
Greetings, my name is Justin Lawrence O, and I will explain the HTML code. The ID attribute set to the book container, it is used to group and style content together. HTML headings level 1 or H1 element. It displays the textbook now as a heading on web page. Element with the ID attribute to set the book form. It is used to contain input elements and allow user to enter and submit data. The input element of type text and his ID attribute get to hotel name. It is also has placeholder attribute that displays the text hotel name. The code represents a submit button within the form. It has the type attribute set to submit, which indicates that clicking the button will submit the form. The ID attribute set to back button, it displays the textbook back. The text back, this button is outside the form element and serves as a separate button unrelated to this form. The first script tag indicates an external JavaScript library called jQuery. It is loaded from the provided URL. The second script tag refers to a local JavaScript file named script.js. Thank you.
In this line of code, the cascading style sheet, this shows the background image, background color, and the font text, font size, and every design of the interface. This is where the user interacts in the user interface. So this is the front end of the code.
Here is a breakdown of the code with explanation for each section. Margins, the button is given a margin of 40 pixels at the top, auto for horizon margins, and 20 pixels at the bottom. Width, the button occupies 80% of its parent container width. Position, the button is positioned relatives to normal position, shifting it up to 200 pixels. Display, the button is set to display as a black element. Outline, no outline is applied to the button. Padding, button has 10 pixels of padding on all sides. Border, the button has a 1 pixel solid border line with the color of white. Cursor, the cursor changes to a pointer when hovering over the button. Background and colors, the button has a background color of RGBA 0, 0, 0.8 or 80% opaque black and a font color of white. Font size, the button text has a font size of 16 pixels. This style rule is targeting an element with the ID back button. It sets the margin to 40% on the top, auto on the left and the right, and 20 pixels on the bottom with the width is set to 80% of its container. It has a relative positioning with the top offset of negative 200 pixels, meaning it will be shifted 200 pixels upward. The element will be displayed as block level element and the outline is removed, and it has 10 pixels of padding. The border is set to a 1 pixel solid line with the color of white. It has a pointer cursor. The background color is a semi-transparent black and the text color is white. The font size is 16 pixels. This back button hover, these styles rules target the same element with the ID back button when it's the hovering state. When the user hovers over the element, the background color is changed to shade of green. Back button 2, margin 2 has a larger bottom margin of 70 pixels and the width the button occupies of its parent container width. This style rule is similar to the previous one but targets an element with the ID back button. It has the same margin and positioning properties as before, but the larger bottom of margin of 70 pixels. The width is set to 30% instead of 80%. The header. Positioning. The header is positioned relative to its normal position. Padding. The header has 10 pixels of padding on the all sides. Background color. The header has a background color of F2 or a light of shade or shade of gray. Styling. The logout button. These style rules target an element with the ID header. It has relative positioning. It has 10 pixels of padding. The background color set is set to light gray color. Username display. This style rule targets an element with the ID user display. It's add a right margin of 10 pixels. Logout button. This style rules targets an element with the ID logout button. It has an absolute positioning. It is positioned 5% from the top of its container. The transform property is used to vertical center the element.
In this part of code, we use CCS to create our design. In the book container 1, H1, the margin we use is 40 packs auto, 20 packs, and the position is relative and top is 70 packs. In our book, we use a width of 500 packs, background RGBA, and we added a padding of 50 packs. And here in this part, we made the background transparent so that the background here is more unique. And in the submit book, we use a margin of 40 packs, auto 20 packs like the previous one. And here the width is 80%, and we use in the display is black, and the border is 1 packs. Our cursor is usually a pointer, and our font size is 16 packs.
Okay, $sign government that ready function. This code waits for the document to fully load before executing code inside the function. Bar is logged in equals local storage get item is logged in. This retrieves the value of the login key from the browser local storage. The local storage object allows you to store key value pairs in browser storage for persistent data storage across session. If is login equals to else, this condition statement check if the value of the login is equal to string true. If it is show homepage function is called, otherwise the show login form function is called. Function show login form. This function declaration for the show login form. Function it depends the browser behavior to show the login form by manipulating the HTML element using jQuery. It's paid in the login container element and hides the register container, homepage container, book container, and bookings container element. Function show register form. This function declaration defines the behavior to show the function behavior to register form. It hides the login form and fades in the registration form while hiding other containers such as home, book, and booking container. Function show homepage. This function declaration defines the behavior to show the homepage. It hides login, registration book, and bookings container and then fades in the home container. Function show book form. This function declaration defines the behavior to show the book form. It hides a login, registration, home, and booking container and fades in the book container. Function show booking table. This function declaration defines the behavior to show booking table. It hides the login, registration, home, and book container and fades in the booking container. These functions are defined to control the visibility and behavior and define the container based on the user login status and action performed on homepage. The specific element multiplied. That's it.
This part of the codes set up an event listener for the submission of the login form. When the form is submitted, the function is triggered. The function begins by preventing the default form submission behavior. Prevent default, which allows us to handle the submission process manually. Next is it retrieves the value entered in the username and password fields using query selectors and in the val method. These values are stored in the variables username and password respectively. The code then retrieves the stored username and the password from the browser local storage using the local storage .get item method. It assumes that the username is stored with the key username and the password is stored with the key password. After that, it compares the entered username and password with the stored credential. If they match, it sets an item in the local storage with the key is logged in, and the value true, indicating that the user is logged in. It then calls the show homepage function, which is not shown in the provided code, to display the homepage or perform any necessary action for a successful login. If the entered credentials do not match the stored credentials, an alert is displayed indicating that the credentials are invalid. As part of the code sets up an event listener for the submission of the registration form, similar to the login form. When the form is submitted, the function is triggered. It begins by preventing the default form submission behavior. The code then retrieves the value entered in the new username and new password fields using the respective jQuery selectors. And these values are stored in the variables username and new password. Next, it's stored the new username and password in the browser local storage using the local storage.setItem method. The username is stored with the key username, and the password is stored with the key password. After storing the new credential, it calls the show login form function to display the login form. Finally, an alert display indicating that the registration was successful and prompting the user to log in. Please note that the show homepage and show login form function are not shown in the provided code snippet. So their implementation and behavior are not known. Next.
My name is Erwin Morales from 2ITE. This is my part of my group. When the logout button with the ID logout button is clicked, it's perform the following action. It set the value of the login key in the browser local storage to false. This indicates that the user is logged out. It's called the function show login form to display the login form. When the book now button with the ID book now button is clicked, it's called the function show book form. This function likely display a form for booking a hotel. When the form with the ID book form is submit, is perform the following action. It's prevent the default form submission behavior would cause a page reload. It's activate the value, enter in the hotel name, check in and check out. Input field. It's activate the existing booking form, the local storage, or initialize an empty. Alright, if no booking exists yet, it's add a new booking object to the booking array containing the hotel name, check-in and check-out dates. It store the update booking array in the local storage. After converting it's to a JSON string, it reset the form by calling the reset method on the form element. It's display an array to inform the user the booking was successful. It's called the function show home page to show the home page after the booking is complete.
Greetings everyone, my name is Harold P. Galang and this is the explanation for C Bookings button click, back button click from book form, back button click from bookings table, and register and login link text from registration form and login form. For here, first is the C Bookings button click. So this button is used to display all of the contents of the bookings table. So in bookings tables, we call bookings btn or button that click function, and we created variable var bookings equals json.parse local storage that get items bookings, which is the calling for the table. And if the bookings and bookings that length is greater than 0, which means it has a content inside the table, and the table will be shown or displayed in the in the page. So if the table bookings that length is greater than 0 is equal to false, which means there is no content in the bookings whatsoever. Therefore, the program will alert the user that there is no bookings found and there will be no table displayed in the page. So next is the back button click from book form. This is just a button to bring the user to the home page, and also to the back button 2, which is the back button in the bookings table. It will bring the user back to the home page. Back button and back button 2 is different from each other because it has their different CSS design. And now our register link click and login link link. This is a text which the user can click if the user doesn't have any account, or they didn't register yet. So the user can click this to register. And also the login link click, if the user is already having an account, the user can click this text or link to direct to the login form, and the user can log in and go to the homepage of the program. So to demonstrate the program, we need to run this index.html, and the name of our the title of our program and website is the Continental Hotel Management. So if I type my username and password, for example 1234, then login, I will straight go to the homepage because I already have the account. If if the account is not existing, therefore it will not log the user. So let's say I typing John Doe, and 1234, invalid. This will be alerted, and invalid credentials, please try again. If you register with the same name, John Doe, and password 1234, registration successful, please log in. We can now log in with the credential we typed in the registration form. So log in, and now we can go to the our homepage, the Continental Hotel Management. Um, this button is the logout button, which brings you back to the uh, login page. And here is the two buttons, book now and see bookings. For book now, the user can type the hotel name. Let's say um, hotel hotel Manila Hotel, and the user can select what the date of check-in. They can select the date of check-in, and they also can um, select the check-out date. And after that, we can select this booking successful, and it will go back to the home page. And if we click the see bookings, it will show the all of the bookings that the user have been uh, input inputted into the uh, book now uh, book now credentials. So if we just click the back button, and that's how our program works. Thank you for watching.